morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice for radio. So today, we need to take a look at Blastoise V-Max. Yeah, it turns out Blastoise V-Max might actually be a pretty gosh darned good deck. And that makes me pretty happy because, well, I like Blastoise. And I think Blastoise V-Max looks like an awful lot of fun. So seeing it do a whole bunch of winning, that seems pretty gosh darn good to me. Shout out to Talonite X for, well, hooking us up with deck lists. And one of these might look like you're expecting, and one of these very much does not. So starting off then, we probably should take a look at Blastoise V and Blastoise V-Max. Blastoise V, not really the reason you play the deck. 1 energy, 30 damage. Now the free energy, 200, but you can't use it next turn is fine. 200 damage is pretty good. Again, it's not why you're playing the deck, but it's not terrible. But it's the V-Max we really like. For free energy, you do 120 damage, and you search your deck for free water energy and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way that you like. Doing damage while attaching free energy from the deck, that's what Pikachu and Zekrom does, and that worked out pretty well. That's what Arceus and Dialga and Palkia does, and that worked out pretty well. And I know it's not the only thing that those cards do, I'm just saying that it's a proven good effect. Then for 4 energy, you do 220 to the active, and 30 to 2 of your opponent's bench, and that is going to get a lot of damage on the board very, very quickly. It is going to lead you to a whole bunch of wins, and that is basically what you're looking for with Blastoise V-Max here. The goal of the deck, very simply, is I am going to smash with Blastoise V-Max, because I do a huge amount of damage, and life is good. Now, one of the issues we potentially have here is getting the energy on. Now, one of the decks, it probably won't surprise you, I'm going to show you 2 lists. One of the decks plays Frostmoth. Frostmoth is that stage 1 Pokemon, lets you attach as much water energy as you like from your hand to one of your benched water Pokemon. It is a very good card, it is a very effective card, nobody should be surprised that this is played with Blastoise. The surprising thing here is that one of the lists just doesn't play it. It basically depends on using Turbo Patch, because remember, as soon as you get 1 attack off with Blastoise V-Max, you're basically set up for the game then, because you're accelerating a whole bunch of energy. So that sounds pretty good to me. Now in terms of other Pokemon other than Frostmoth, Jirachi becomes a great option here. It's the same as it's always been. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer, put it in your hand, go to sleep. It works pretty gosh darned well, so yeah. It's the kind of thing you can expect to essentially keep seeing a whole bunch of play. It's really good. We see Oranguru coming around here. Lets you swap a card in your hand for the top card of your deck. It's weak draw power, but it is a little bit of extra draw power nonetheless, so it's quite a fun one. And then we do see things like Dedenne, discard your hand, draw 6 cards. Crobat, draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. And one of the lists even plays an Eldegoss as well. Lets you grab a supporter card from your discard pile and put it into your hand. All these consistency Pokemon are basically exactly what we're expecting. And then we've got just a few random one-off attackers just for a little bit of fun. So the Kyogre here from Cosmic Eclipse. For 1 water energy, you attach 2 water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. That can be really good in the early game for making sure that you've actually got your Blastoise set up. And I don't think it is a coincidence that this is the deck that doesn't play Frostmoth that chooses to play Kyogre. 4 energy, 130 is a decent non-GX attack, but it's a little bit expensive. In the other deck list, we see Suicune seeing a little bit of play and a little bit of love. And I owe a bit of an apology here because this is a Suicune from Darkness Ablaze that I didn't say very nice things about the other day. And frankly, I was told, in fact it was Antoine told me, that it was seeing a bit of play here and there. And it turns out I was wrong, it is seeing a bunch of play. Free energy, 130, put 2 water from this Pokemon into your hand. Again, no coincidence this is played in the Frostmoth build here. Do a bunch of damage, put the energy in your hand, ready to just reattach using Frostmoth. And then one copy of Keldeo GX here, which again is another Pokemon that flies under the radar as a sneaky good one here. For free energy, you do 110, and you go through any effects on the defending Pokemon, which can be useful. For free energy, you do 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which can be useful, but it's also immune to GXs and EXs, so if you do find yourself coming up against a deck that only plays GX Pokemon, you will win with Keldeo. With Pokemon V nowadays, that is unfortunately a lot less likely. But having that and an attack that goes through any effects, that is enough to make me want to play it. So those are the Pokemon we see over the two deck lists here. One of them does play that combination of Jirachi, Prism Star, and Mr. Mime, which is a little bit sad. That's the one that lets you essentially cheat extra prizes by putting Jirachi Prism in your prizes, drawing it, etc. It's sad that that's gone away, but there's a bunch of decks that would want to use that and can't. It's pretty much the only thing that gets lost to rotation. It's not the end of the world. It's sad, but we will survive. Also worth pointing out, there is a Galarian Zigzagoon in that list as well. You just drop 10 damage, it gives you extra damage. You're playing Scoop Up Net because you're playing Jirachi anyway, so it's nice to have that option to drop the extra damage and bring some Pokemon into range. Now in terms of energy, obviously we are largely playing water energy here, but the list that plays Frostmoth does play capture energy. When you attach it, you search for a basic and bench it, and that's a really good thing. You want to get your Frostmoth set up, so just playing a couple of capture energy to give you a little bit of extra consistency seems like a pretty gosh darned good thing to me. Now, I'm not intending to go through every single card in both of the lists here in terms of trainers. Obviously, with Pokemon Search, we've got Quick Ball to get your basics. We've got Pokemon Communication to make sure you've got the Pokemon that you want, because you are playing some evolutions. One really cool card here that we don't see being played a huge amount is Pokemon Breeder, or I suppose to be more precise, Pokemon Breeder's Nurturing, which just lets you essentially choose two of your Pokemon and evolve them from the deck. But here, that's getting your Blastoise VMAX and getting your Frostmoth out. That seems like a supporter that is absolutely worth it. That sounds like an awful lot of fun. Supporter-wise, yeah, clearly we're playing Professor's Research here, and clearly we're playing Boss's Orders. Because, you know, draw and gusting, and obviously Marnie is your other go-to supporter card here for drawing. None of that should be particularly exciting or particularly groundbreaking. But there are a couple of cards which are a bit more unique to this particular deck. Capacious Bucket becomes an awesome option. That's the one that just lets you search your deck for 2 basic water energy. Obviously, it is better in a Frostmoth list where you can attach as much water energy as you like, but even when you're not playing Frostmoth, it still gets you an energy for this turn and energy for next turn, one to discard, to attach with Turbo Patch, etc. It's still pretty good. Oh yeah, and we are playing Turbo Patch in the non-Frostmoth build here, because we need to get our Blastoise. And bearing in mind, right, Blastoise V-Max's attack, the one that accelerates energy, it's a free energy attack. So turn 1 you attach an energy, turn 2 you attach an energy, and you just need to hit 1 Turbo Patch off of, well, either of your first 2 turns, and then you will be in a great position in terms of getting that attack off. And once you get that attack off, you're attaching energy from the deck and you're golden. So it's not like you're needing to hit multiple Turbo Patch. Hitting 1 over the first 2 turns, that will be enough here. Another card which is absolutely crucial here is Telescopic Sight. Telescopic Sight is that one where attacks that hit the bench do an extra 30 damage if they hit Pokemon G, X's, and V's. And given that Blastoise does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, means that having this and using it is going to be absolutely huge. And because the decks rely on Jirachi, it is worth pointing out you're going to need a whole bunch of Switch and Scoop Up Net. We should note that each of the decks does play 1 copy of a skateboard, lets you retreat for free with Jirachi, lowers it by 1, but Jirachi's only got 1, even if you're asleep, which Jirachi will be, and that's sad, but it's only played as a one-of in each deck, and there's plenty of good decks around at the moment still using Jirachi with Switch and Scoop Up Net, so I don't think it's a huge issue. And actually, I should mention that both of the decks do actually play the same stadium here. There's not much of it here, but we do see Training Court slipping in. It's just the one that lets you, well, grab an energy from your discard pile. It's actually a pretty nice one, if I'm honest with you. So you know what? Seems like in this kind of deck, it could be pretty gosh darn nice. If we take a look at the first list here, this is the one that doesn't play Frostmoth. You lose to rotation, basically a skateboard and adventure bag, but I'm not worried too much about them. And you do lose the Jirachi combo, which sucks, but it's not the main part of the deck. Moving over into the other list, this is the Frostmoth deck, and you basically lose nothing to Japan's rotation. Like that one copy of a skateboard, I think you're probably going to survive without it. These are really good lists that you can use as a basis for building Blastoise with and without Frostmoth as soon as it releases over here, and that sounds like an awful lot of fun to me. But I'd like to know how you feel about it. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.